Well, hello everyone. Today we're going to look at multizoning a eufy security camera system by Anchor in today's show. It's going to be a little bit of an explicated version, so it's going to be a little bit long. So why don't we just go ahead and roll, title rolling. All right, so what do I mean by multizone? Well, it's just something I made up. And you say, well, what does it really mean? Well, in my case, I'll give you the background on it. It's pretty straightforward. When I bought the first 2 camera system, I wanted more cameras. You just want more. And I had added it to a 3 camera system with Nest, and I wanted some more because I really wanted to watch the road as people would come up the driveway, because new neighbors moved in and now it's messed up my detection from the Nest system that was watching the driveway, and I lost my heads up that someone was coming up the driveway. Adding insult to injury, my driveway is a proper driveway. It's gravel, but it's a proper driveway. It doesn't make much noise. Their driveway never got completed, and it pops and crinkles and rolls because they use fairly large stones because of a water issue. Never finish it off. So they make more noise going up their driveway than UPS van does coming up mine. So I wanted to add a camera at the road. Well, there's one at the road. I also wanted to watch some other places. So why do I have a multi-zone? Well, it kind of stumbled into it because, quite frankly, when I purchased my 2 camera system with I'm going to call it a base station. Forgive me through this, Anchor. It is a home base 2, and the home base 2s were once rumored that they were going to try to expand them, but they didn't really find a good way to do it, and they came out with the home base 3, the latest and greatest. So the old home base 2 has 16 gigabytes of storage in it. And they came with one of those and 2 cameras. Well, when I priced one of those kits with 2 add-on cameras, it was one price. When I priced a 4 camera system, it was another price. And lo and behold, 2 double cameras, 2 separate systems was cheaper than either of those 2 combinations. So I bought a second complete system. And you say, what good is that? Well, let's look at this right here. All right, now I have pulled up a zoom in with a little camera on top of the phone, and we'll just hit the eufy app and it will come up. And what eufy will allow you to do, let's slide down here to the devices, and we'll see we have a base station blue and a base station red. So what I actually have there before us is 2 separate base stations in the eufy app, and you can see them. And you say, well, yeah, eufy can do that. And that's true. That's a plus to the eufy system. I am told through the eufy's Q&A that you can actually have multiple base stations. I confirmed this with eufy Anchor before I bought the second system. And they said, yeah, you can put more than one base station on there. And I said, well, I actually have one house, not the 2-house thing. And they said, well, you could still use the second base station, but you're not going to get a lot. Well, in my case, I thought, well, if I have 16 gigabytes of memory stored locally, if I have 2 base stations, you're getting ahead of me. If I have 2 base stations locally, then I'll have twice that at 32 gigabytes of local storage, and I could. The downside to that is, if we want to kind of go to that multiple house, lake house, cabin in the woods, cabins in the mountain, and home, where you might have a different base station and a eufy system in each of those houses, those base stations are listing everything up underneath them has to be attached to that base station, and you can't I can't trigger what we call automations. I can't do automation, say, with Lake House and trigger a recording over in a different location with the other base station. But what can I do? Well, I can actually chain things through automation to each of the separate units. And so I'm going to roll a clip here that's going to talk vaguely about automations first. Let's get that going. Now, Del, what is this zone thing you're speaking of? Well, I have multiple home bases. This is the one, you see, you'll notice it's got a little red tape on it. This is the red zone, home base for the red zone. That used to be a TV spot up there in the old garage.
and the TV got repurposed, and that power and antenna connection were just there. You can tell they've been there for a while. They've turned yellow with age. The plastic has aged. But there we have our zone, our red zone home base. Now if you come in, if you'll notice, it's way high up into the wall. Makes it difficult for somebody to steal if they wanted to take the data, if they want to take the footage with them. It's going to be difficult to do because they got to grab a ladder over here, which is well within reach, grab it and take it over. Now if we look right here, we see a keypad and a door switch, and we have a door switch over the garage door. Now that works really well the way I've got that set, because it doesn't trip until the door is completely closed, and you just mount the magnet on the top of the door with the sticky tape, and then you have, of course, you just adjust the height of that sensor for the particular trip so that it doesn't trip early, or you can't have it cracked halfway open without it being open. So closed is closed and open is open. These run off those little batteries and they can be recharged. But if you'll notice, I don't know if I can get up here to show you, it's just got a little piece of blue tape. This is on the other home base. Now let's go back up. That's red. We just saw blue would come across the ceiling all the way around over here, and up there between the speaker and that green fertilizer spreader on the other side, the left, you'll see a camera looking at us right next to the spool of hose and belt. If you follow that, you'll see it does have a little wire that comes down where the radio is, and at the radio there's just an extension cable and a transformer. And periodically, because this is deliberately difficult to get to with the junk in this place, with the equipment and mowers and whatnot, you can't really get to that camera to take it down and steal it. And if you can see it through the resolution, I don't know if it will, that's blue as well. So the blue, and let's swing around to our doors. The blue, this stuff on this side is on that blue zone. So I can actually use the door switches to chain with this camera so that if the motion detection doesn't pick it up, if the door opens, it records. If someone opens the side door, the side hinge door, it can turn that camera on, as well as motion detection. Now I do have a door over on this side by the water heater, on the other side of the ladder that you can't quite see very well. Right there is the door to the garage. So that door is not monitored, but it is taped with the camera. So that's what we're doing there. So they're on two different zones. So if somebody were to see that and steal it, they only get some of the footage that's been recorded, some of the data that's been recorded. They don't get the recordings for the switches and blue zone camera.
All right, so we have this pulled up, and we see we have base station red, base station blue. In the garage that you just saw, I have the red tape, the red phase tape. It's just electrical phase tape on there. If I go into this button down here, says security, and I push up here automation, and then I go to that red base station, you see I have something showing here. Now I know it's not going to show up particularly well because the screen on the cell phone is constantly scanning, and we're running the same rate, I guess, with the phone that we do on this computer system. But we see we can add something to that red base station if we wanted to chain it. If we want to go back and pick the blue base station, as we saw in the video, I had blue. The base station above was red. You didn't see anything really turned on there. But now we see down here we have a couple of things. I have alarm system to make the noise come out of each of the cameras and the base station. But down here on the red, we also have this one right here, which is using two switches that we saw in the system in that video. We have the two door switches, the overhead door and the actual entry door, the side swinging door. We have them off of the blue base station, and that camera in the back is in fact on the blue system. So if someone were to come in, break in the garage and see that base station up there up high on the wall, and decide to take the time to try to stumble through my overcrowded garage to get a ladder to steal that particular base station, they're getting the red base station that we're still recording on the blue base station. So not only does it extend the life of our data before we have to roll over, If you like this content, please go to calldeltacell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you, thank you, that we're still recording on the blue base station. So not only does it extend the life of our data before we have to roll over, I have the most recording at the road guarding the mailbox, and of course the driveway entry is on with only another camera. So I actually had 2 years of traffic going by and that sort of thing, and wasn't quite full to capacity. I had 600 and some odd days on it before reformatting that, trying to get a eufy bug out of the app that goes along with this 2023 latest and greatest. It is Android, so it's late, whatever the 13, I guess it is. It's the latest one that's available, built into that phone, and it's been given some trouble with the eufy app. But the idea was, I have more data in 2 different locations, so if they steal one of the cameras, they won't get, or one of the base stations, they shouldn't get all of the data. So that's what we got going there. All right, we see the effect of the multi-zone, how I have it, the red and the blue. If we look at the top 2, it says red, and red here, RD1, RD2, those are on the red camera, on the red cameras, or on the red base station or home base 2. If we go down and see the other 3 cameras, don't pay any attention to the clutter in that garage, but you will see they're on the blue. And the way I have this ordered through this top corner, if we go to that top corner, we can change how we have, I think it is settings. Let's see if that's right. Yes. Display, device display order, which is this second line down. We can actually change them to be organized by, say, if we want to do it, we could do lake house. We could perhaps put that red one at the lake house, or the cabin in the woods, or the hunting place, or another one at the house, and you can order the rental property versus the other, however you want to. Or in the case if you have, we can't say in real estate something, because they'll say it could be something dealing with fair housing if we mention family status. But if you had a mother-in-law suite or grandpa suite, or even you had, say, something like the guest house out by the cement pond, as they used to say, you could put and set up a system there, I think, complete with door pads, because I think you can have a maximum, this is from memory, don't quote me on this, I think 3 door pads per base station or per home base. So we could have a front door, back door, keypad out there on the one home base, and keep it separate from the other home base. Or if you had an upstairs apartment type thing, you could put a one for the red floor and blue floor, or one, or whatever you want to do. So you can kind of break them up, and in fact, it requires it to be isolated per home base, how you have your devices, your window switches, your door switches, that type of thing, your motion detectors, that sort of thing going on like that. Let's talk about how difficult it is to install. Now, I won't install a base station here for you in this capacity, but I will give you a clip what we did in this particular project, because this is a very real project. What we ended up doing was we wanted to take the eufy cam 2C that was at the road, that's the 1080p camera, 15 frames per second, and relocate it, repurpose it from one base station to the other base station. And we wanted to put the newer, just to test it out, the 2C Pro, the supposed 2K version of this, also 15 frames per second. We wanted to put it there at the road to get maybe a little bit better resolution to see how that goes. So what do you say we look at some video clips of how we install, and it's very quick. They're probably a minute a piece, but we're going to go ahead and set up 2 cameras. I'm going to show you first taking it out of the box, because for some reason people like unboxing. Well, I don't actually take it out of the box. I show you the box, and then I have it open out of the box, and we look at it there in the next clip that will follow, and we'll check it out. Then we'll roll. I'll come back and tell you we're getting ready to do the activating of the two cameras. Okay, everybody seems to like pictures of boxes. Here's the package it came in. This is just a single add-on camera. It is the 2C Pro, which just means it's upscaled to 2K or something of that nature. I don't know if it's any better native, but it says it's supposed to be 2K versus the 1080p, which is not really HD because it's only 15 frames a second. Versus the 30 it should be if it really want to be HD. So this is the same, I think, a little bit upscaled, a little bit more to the box on the back. You can use the app. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the camera in here, this one replacement or add-on camera, and we're going to put it at the road. We're going to charge it tonight. And then what we'll do is we'll swap it out and relocate the camera we took off, put it in back. Now at this stage, I'm going to add that camera to the system that already exists. So I have to add that in there. If you'll notice back here, we have this little charger, which I use to recharge the entry switches batteries, the 123s. They are rechargeable that come with them. If you get a charger, you can recharge them. Otherwise, you have to buy the throwaways every so often. Now, what we have obviously is the box, and then we have the cable that I never use because I already have one out. I have a mount, uses a 1/4-20, got some mounting screws here, and of course the camera. You can see the 1/4-20 hole on the back of the camera. If we slide over this way, we see we have a red piece of phase tape over the sync button. And if we come down here to this side, we see the charging port and a little bit of that QR code in the speaker hole. So we're charging it. We've charged it. It's up to speed, and we just have to add it into the system. We're going to add it into the red zone. Now I have the old gate camera, the old gate red one. I have deleted it off and renamed the red one to gate red one like I had it conventioned with the rest of the cameras. You can see the live shot or recording from where it is. We're going to add this one now to the blue zone, and so we'll do it the same way. We'll add camera, battery camera, eufy camera 2C. We'll add it to the blue. Has to be within 1 meter. We'll hit next. It'll ask me to push the sync button. You heard the beep.
Ready to add device.
We've got tone. It's been added.
Device was added successfully.
And now we'll just repeat the procedure. We're going to add customized name. We're going to call it back porch. Blue 3. And if I misspelled something or I don't like it, I can rename that once I have it set up. So now we have that, and we'll be able to finish the configurations. Well, as it turns out, as I start to stitch these things together, we're running long, and I have a whole nother video's worth of observations of the eufy architecture that goes with the penultimate video. The one that was before this video will be the other one. That one on the architecture, when I compare how they operate to trail cams, will get into very specific observations of what the app is kind of goofing up on. I'll show you some things it's not doing right. We'll look at the video that we've extracted off the cameras, a couple of the 2C and the 2C Pro in night and daytime, and that'll just be a separate video. So I appreciate you watching. Remember, hit like and subscribe on these things so that and the notification bell, so that when this next one comes up, that you'll know it's there. And if you haven't watched the one on architecture, when I explain to you, because this is a robbing Peter to pay Paul, you give a little, you get a little bit, and it's not that one is better or worse than the other. They're just different in how they work and why they're that way, and why you need to have certain trade-offs. So anyway, that's it. Appreciate you watching. Subscribe if you will. It'll help me out a lot. Tell your friends, spread it around, all that kind of good jazz. That's it. Appreciate you.